There's a science that has started recently. The science is called actuarial science. Actuarial science is imagination. You imagine different scenarios. Now, I want to imagine that in the next general elections, Rigiji and Ruto split. They either go against each other, that is, Rigiji contests for the presidency, or Rigiji supports another candidate. Well, if Rigiji supports another candidate, the strength of the other candidate would count. So if we include that and we have 26 candidates, it will take long. We'll start saying now Rigiji with candidate A, Rigiji with candidate B, Rigiji with candidate X, Rigiji with candidate Y, Rigiji with candidate Z. So let us see it from Rigiji alone, so that if he's going to support another candidate, then we look at the strength and weaknesses of that candidate. Because if Rigiji is going to support a candidate like Gideon Moi, of course, however strength they have done, Gideon would be wiped out in Rift Valley, isn't it? But if Rigiji campaigns for somebody like Raila, that is a different case. You cannot compare Raila to Gideon Moi. So the picture that will come out after Rigiji supports another candidate, then we can go back to actual science and see what will actually happen. Let us just say Rigiji here and Ruto here. Now, they are my neighbors, if I can say so, because if you board, you know the school that Ruto went to, Kamagut Primary School. If you board there a matatu and say that you are alighting where my father is buried, you'll just pass a few stages or a few marketplaces and you'll reach where my father is buried. And as for Rigiji, if you are coming from Rigiji's place and you want to alight where my mother is buried, you also take a few stages and reach there. So Rigiji is a neighbor to my mother's grave, and Ruto is a neighbor to my father's grave. So I think I'm neutral. Now let us look at it this way. I've not checked with the records, but I have no cause to doubt it. Rigiji claims that 47% of what Ruto got came from the mountain. Let us take it to be true. Let us take it to be true that 47% came from the mountain, which means that you just add 3% and half of the votes that Ruto got from the mountain are going to, came from 50, almost half of the votes that Ruto got came from the mountain, which means Ruto, in such a scenario, he has to be very, very careful. I know Ruto, tactically from the word go, he has been dismantling regional and tribal leaders. And that is why he even went for Rigiji. Rigathi was not a political heavyweight, but Ruto has made him a sort of a political heavyweight. And it is easy to make somebody into a devil. And then once he becomes a devil, you can't control him. Remember, Ruto, the YK92 fellow, was a very humble Nyayo follower. So humble that Moi preferred Ruto to his own nephew Reuben Chesire. See what Raila created Ruto. He created Ruto as a go-getter. I do something like that. So if Ruto is to complain, of course he cannot complain openly. But if Ruto was to complain that Gachagua amemea pembe, the same way Raila can complain that Ruto amemea pembe. You get my point? Now, if it is true that almost half of the votes came from the mountain, Ruto has to have two tactics to counter that. Yes, he has created, it is Ruto who created Gachagua, Rigathi. It is Ruto who created Rigathi to be a regional boss. So in case of any differences, of course, Gachagua can eat into the 47%. Now the question is, how much does he eat? And you have, it is just like a sniper. You saw that one bullet only touched the ear and he was dead. Suppose it would have gone a few inches aside, history would have been changed, isn't it? So nobody has the luxury of having the election and seeing what Rigathi will get, and then come back. So long as Rigathi has eaten into Ruto's votes, it will be too late for Ruto to. So Ruto has to plan it such a way that if he feels that of the 47%, let's say Rigathi has 30%, then Ruto has to maintain the 17. Is it 47? Yeah, 30 plus 17. Then he has to maintain the difference between the 30 that he's taking and the 47, which comes to 17. He has to retain that and then try as much as possible to get a number that is twice, at least twice, that one of the 30% he may be losing in the mountain. Remember, this is Raila's undoing from the word go. Because you cannot go to Nauyapong, get 100% votes from Nauyapong, and then forget that you lost 30% from Amaler. You get 100%. You get a lot of votes in Nauyapong, but lose a lot of votes from Amaler. So the difference, if what you gain in Nauyapong is more than what you lost in Amaler, that is what you do. But then, if you lose, like Raila has always been considered, oh, this time I've won this area. You see, last time I didn't get any vote in this area. But he forgets that in some regions, his power goes down. So what Ruto can do now is that if today, if today they crossed swords and even the next election, a person like Rigathi says, okay, now I'm either contesting or I'm going to have another candidate, then in such a situation, Ruto should find places where he'll get more votes than what he loses in. So if he's losing 30% in, he should look for at least 60%, equivalent of 60% from elsewhere. Now, where does he get elsewhere? The first one is the propaganda war. You see, every time Rigathi Gachagua, I like calling him Mufiala. Mufiala is cousin. I'm not related by him. I'm related with so many people, but I'm not related to Rigathi Gachagua. But I am the one who offered him. I'm the one who registered him and his brother and his family as voters in 1997 at a place called Kayaba. So I usually call him Mufiala. This cousin of mine, in quotes, is trying to organize a tribal strength. And the way I understand my mother's tribe, my mother's village is not very far from Rigathi's village. Kikuyus don't go for their tribes. Kikuyu go for two things. One, reasoning. They say, kerekerionedhiri. So they go for reasoning. Two, they go for business. What is in for us? Now, if you play your part, that is why they say kerekerionedhiri. You play their part, a Kikuyu will play his part. Fulfill yours, the Kikuyu will fulfill his. Another thing the Kikuyus do is that they reason. Oh, okay, that is the part I said they reason. Another thing is they ask themselves, what is it? What is it in for us? Now, if you are going to openly show them that you are turning the Kikuyus against other tribes, the Kikuyus will be the first one to run away from you. So, in a fair fight today, in a fair fight in the mountain, I would say that I would give Ruto 60% of the mountain votes, and Rigathi I would give him 40%. Actually, if the tall tree is cut, the tree that was a quarter size of it becomes the tallest, isn't it? So if you are now the new tallest fellow, it does not mean that you are as tall as Kina Matiba, Kina Kibaki. No, he's the tallest tree because the tall trees have been cut down. So he is a quarter of what the tall trees used to be, and that is why he is thinking that. Another thing that you may have seen, have you noticed that Ruto is targeting Luhyas? There is, first of all, at CG, is it principal cabinet secretary or prime cabinet secretary? Oh, now he's a super cabinet secretary. Oh, there is the speaker of the National Assembly. There is whatever. But there is a problem with the Luhya. Look at the people from Vihiga. And when I talk of Vihiga, there are there are 4 tribes in Vihiga. There are Nandis there, Kalenjins. We have Tirikis, we have the Wanyore, and we have the Wanyore, and we have the Maragoli. Now, apart from Wanyore and probably the Nandis, you find that these other 2 tribes in Vihiga, Tiriki and Maragoli, they hate Mudavadi. They hate Mudavadi. If I were to contest for presidential election with Mudavadi, I'm sure in Maragoli land and Tiriki land, I would get more than Mudavadi. I don't know why. They don't like him. But you see, Ruto is aiming at that. He's targeting the Luhya votes. And I should also, I wish I had an access to him. If I had an access to him, I would have advised him to concentrate on Luo Nyanza. Luo Nyanza, I do believe that in a fair fight, leave alone this thing about African Union or whatever. No, that is what do you call icing on the cake. But if you ask me properly, in a fair fight between Kalonzo Musyoka and William Samoei Ruto would get more in Luo Nyanza than Kalonzo Musyoka. The only thing that can deny Ruto votes in Luo Nyanza is one, if Agwambo says so. But if Agwambo does not say so, or if Agwambo's campaigns for Ruto, of course there are 2 types of campaigning. He can say that he's in African Union, but the father, Jaramogi, was very clever. He used to meet people from areas, let's say somebody from Karachuonyo. You say, you come from Karachuonyo? Yeah. Oh, can you tell Karachuonyo people that Aluo's homestead is not complete without a woman? That is a secret message that has been sent to Karachuonyo, that can you elect Phoebe as CEO? So Raila could send messages that is comfortable with Ruto. But if Raila is completely And that is an impossible thing for anybody to be completely neutral, isn't it? But if for any reason that Raila becomes neutral, if Raila becomes neutral completely, Luo Nyansas would prefer Ruto to Kalonzo Musyoka. I think that is how I believe that in a fair fight between Rigiji and Ruto, Rigiji will lose 19 to 1 to make it 20, isn't it? Thank you.